Mason up front. Mason coming off of a big win last weekend. We talked about that a little bit earlier. Young Daryl Lanigan on the outside. Lanigan also picking up a win a couple weeks ago down at Florence Speedway. The Union, Kentucky driver on the outside. Bobby Burgess. His father's owned race cars for quite a number of years. His son now behind the wheel in his second or third year. Sitting in pretty good shape in this last qualifying event of the afternoon.
Now we'll keep our eyes on the veteran out of Ohio, Dean Alexander in the 16A car. Alexander doing double duty here this afternoon, racing in the Hillbilly 100 portion of the program. And in just a little bit, he'll be rolling out starting third in the Outhouse 30 event for the Pro Stock cars. Alexander and Myers, Minor and Cross, Rayberger and Simmons and Johnson on the tail. Green flag comes out as we get underway. Up into that first and second corner they go. Racing John Mason out with the early race lead as Lanigan moves into that second spot. Harold Redmond, Scott Peltz, and Dean Alexander tussling for position number 3.
Boy, right on that opening lap, Dean Alexander's car looked very quick. It looked like if the hole would open up, Alexander's car was going to go through it. As Redmond trying to hold off and determine Scott Peltz. Alexander slipping up a little bit high that time. Here comes Peltz now down on the inside to take over the third spot.
Scott Peltz gets Gator Harris's number 55 car up to that third spot as Redmond falls back to fourth. Alexander goes wide in corner 4. Booker Bear moves into number 5 position.
Well, Scott Peltz overhauling Harold Redmond. Good move on the inside. Looks like we've got trouble.
So John Mason getting set to bring the field around, looking for that green flag restart. Green flag waves, and we're underway with heat race number 5.
Well, look at Booper Bear, Brett. Heads out on the inside to overhaul Harold Redmond.
Well, Booper Bear now up to the number 4 spot, trying to make up for that bad start that he had on the original start. Needs to get up and move around that 55 car of Scott Peltz to move up into a transport position.
Booper Bear worked down on the inside. It looks like Booper, one of the quickest cars on the speedway right now, as he's pulled up behind the 55 car in just about a half a lap.
Harold Redmond getting way wide in corner 4 allows Dean Alexander and Mark Myers to move around him, shuffling Redmond back to the number 7 spot as Booper Bear right up on the back bumper of Scott Peltz as they came off of corner number 2.
Right now, it looks like the 29 car of Daryl Lanigan is the car slowing to both the Peltz and the 00 car of Booper Bear up.
Well, a good battle going on for second, third, and fourth between Lanigan, Peltz, and Bear. Dean Alexander now sitting in the 5th position as he was able to get around Mark Myers that last lap. Displayed halfway home with 8 laps down and 7 to go. Mason in front, Lanigan second, Peltz third, and Booper Bear fourth. Dean Alexander sits fifth, followed by Mark Myers, then Harold Redmond, Bobby Burgess, Scott Cross, Brett Rayberger, and J.R. Simmons, Kenny Johnson, and Mark Miner.
Well, that fourth position that Booper Bear is sitting in, that is going to do him no good at all. That is only going to do is put him up in front of the Consi coming up a little bit later on. So Booper's got to move up one more spot.
Booper Bear moves into that number 3 spot. A little paint contact, I guess paint trading going on to be a better phrase, as he and Scott Peltz made a little banging move in corner number 4. Scott left the door open, Booper went in, and a little contact was made, but Booper, the double O car, takes that number 3 spot away from Scott Peltz.
Had a little bump and run there, you might say, but it marked and moved Booper into that 3rd spot.
And the yellow flag will need to come out as a tough break for the 30-plus year racing veteran, Dean Alexander out of Oroville, Ohio, in the 16A car. So looking for the lap 10 restart as the field comes off of corner 4. Green flag waves, and we're back underway.
Down the back straightaway. Peltz trying to get up into that last transfer spot. Working out of turn 4. Up down to the front straightaway. And now Peltz, with just a few laps to go, has got to make a move on Booper Bear. As Booper now in the 29 car, Flanagan starting to pull away from the 4th place car, Peltz.
And now on lap number 12, Mason still in front as Lanigan tries to hold Bear back. Bobby Burgess with a strong move coming off of corner number 4. The 34 car moves up to the number 6 position. Booper Bear looks to the inside of Lanigan off of corner 2, but the youngster out of Kentucky able to find some more horsepower. Mason continues to lead the race. Lanigan protects the bottom of the track in corner 4. Myers gets wide in corner 4, allows Burgess to move up another spot. So the youngster out of Allison Park, Pennsylvania, the 34 car of Bobby Burgess, now sitting in the number 5 position. And now on the white flag lap as John Mason extends his lead. Checkered flag, heat race number 5 winner, Racing John Mason. Second to Darrell Lanigan with Booper Bear 3rd, Scott Peltz 4th, Bobby Burgess 5th. So your top 3 finishers out of that 5th and final qualifying heat race. In the 3 spot is the double O car of Booper Bear. Second position goes to the 29 car of Darrell Lanigan, and your 5th heat race winner out of Millersburg, Ohio, in car number 72. How about a nice round of applause for Racing John Mason? The fastest of the fast rolling onto the speedway now as we get set for the 6-car, 6-lap dash event to determine the first 3 rows of the 25th annual Turbo Blue Racing Gasoline's Hillbilly 100, and this is the way we'll stack them up. Starting on the front row, the 6th fastest qualifier out of Jamestown, New York. In the 28B car is Dick Barton. Outside of that front row from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the 5th quick qualifier driving the Cochran Pontiac-sponsored 1C car, Lynn Geisler. Row number 2 to the inside out of Worcester, Ohio, and the M&J Enterprises 14 car is Jim Gentry. 3rd quick qualifier out of Mooresburg, Tennessee, driving the Barry Wright Race Cars house car. That's the 18 car of the Bloomers, Scott Bloomquist. And on row number 3 to the inside, the second quick qualifier from Dayton, Ohio, in the Bobby Allen Motorsports 55 car, the Dayton Flyer, Larry Moore. And outside of that third row, the fast qualifier out of 73 cars that took time in the Angeliquio and Henry Motorsports 1J car, New Alexandria, Pennsylvania's Davey Johnson. Here they come, the Fast Six is underway. And caution flag will be right back out as the starter did not like the start. Anxiety and a lot of tense moments in those cockpits as they get set to go. This one looks good. Green flag out as we get underway. Down into that number 1 and 2 corner they go. Lynn Geisler trying to get control of that number 1 Cochran Pontiac car, and able to do it as Larry Moore slides to a stop between corner 1 and 2. And caution flag will be right back out as Larry Moore had the Bobby Allen Motorsports car shut down. And Lynn Geisler to set the pace as they start to pick it up coming off that number 4 corner. Green flag waves and we're back underway. Off the number 2 corner they go. Dick Barton out in front with Lynn Geisler sitting in that second slot. Larry Moore up to third as Dave Johnson and Jim Gentry battle for 4th and 5th. Bloomquist races 6th as they enter corner number 3 and 4. Dick Barton out in front, the Lakewood, New York driver. As Lynn Geisler continues to race in that second spot with Larry Moore now starting to move up in the 55. Gentry races 4th with Davey Johnson 5th and Scott Bloomquist 6th. Gentry got a little bit wide, allows Johnson and Bloomquist to move up into the 4th and 5th positions.
Larry Moore, who's trying to run down Lynn Geisler, would like to get around Geisler and start on the front row of the outside. But Geisler, a tough runner. With over 16 feature wins, 2 track champions already notched on his belt. And that Cochran Pontiac 1C. Here comes Moore, though.
Larry Moore to the inside on Geisler in corner number 3. The Dayton Flyer takes 2nd as the white flag waves.
Boy, that is just what the doctor ordered for Larry Moore. That's where he wanted to be, up in front. And it looks like with just a half a lap to go, that's the way it's going to be.
Checkered flag out, winning the fast dash, your fastest of the fast. It'll be Dick Barton, the winner. 2nd spot to Larry Moore, Lynn Geisler 3rd, Davey Johnson 4th, Scott Bloomquist 5th, and Jim Gentry in the 6th position. So the first 3 rows of the Hillbilly 100 have been set. Starting outside of the 3rd row will be the 14 car of Jim Gentry. Inside of that 3rd row will be the 18 car of Scott Bloomquist. On the outside of row number 2 will be the 1J car of Dave Johnson. Inside of that 2nd row will be the 1C car of Lynn Geisler. Outside of the front row will be the 55 car of Larry Moore. And starting on the pole for the 25th annual Turbo Blue Racing Gasoline's Hillbilly 100, he drives the Bolt Place Coors Light sponsored number 28B. How about a nice round of applause for Lakewood, New York's Dick Barton in car 28.
Well, Brendan, nice guy the first to win, putting his name on the check. I guarantee you won't be the County Speedway. And also, this season picking up wins over at the R&R Speedway just south of Zanesville. So 2 good running cars up front. Scott Peltz, also a veteran, Dean Alexander, the veteran, on the inside of the second row, and Denny Denman, two Buckeye drivers. So we've got two West Virginia drivers up front and two Ohio drivers making up that second row.
As the field starts to bunch up, getting ready to go for this Outhouse 30 event. McGill and Steele bring the field around. Green flag drops. The Outhouse 30 underway. So caution flag coming out right on the start of this event as the 22K car of Denny Klug got loose coming off the number 4 corner, collecting. So Butch McGill, Steve Steele will set the pace as they start to get the cars ready to go as the green flag will drop to get this 5th annual Outhouse 30 underway. Green flag down as we get back underway with the racing action. Up into that first and second corner they go. It's Butch McGill jumping out in front as Steve Steele settles into second spot. Dean Alexander races third. Took Wiles and Denny Denman battling for 4th and 5th as we come in on lap number 1 of 30. Butch McGill still out in front in that number 10 car, the West Union, West Virginia driver, as Steve Steele tries to run him down in the 00 car. Dean Alexander continues to race third with Denny Denman sitting 4th. Took Wiles races 5th. DJ Klein sitting 6th. Denny Klug is 7th with Doug Eaton racing 8th. Gary Morton 9th. Mark Uller and Al Floor battling for the number 10 and 11 spots. Second with Alexander third. Denman races 4th as Took Wiles sits 5th in the 187 car. DJ Klein in that number 4 car trying to move up as Alexander slowed somewhat by the 90 car. Butch McGill keeping the number 10 car out in front as he tries to work around the slower car of Roger French. Steve Steele now about 2 car lengths behind race leader Butch McGill. And now on another lap, Butch McGill going down low in corner 4, trying to put consolation event winner Harry Spencer a lap down in the 6 car. Steve Steele continuing to run second as Alexander sits third. Took Wiles racing 4th, Denny Denman 5th. DJ Klein sits 6th with Denny Klug 7th. Doug Eaton races 8th. Racing 9th then would be the 87 car of Gary Morton. 10th now would be Mark Uller in the U2. And it looks as though we've got a problem on the front chute as the 34 car of George Delaney shatters the right rear tire on the 34 car as he'll try and limp his way down to the infield area and not going to be able to make it. And a yellow flag will need to come out. Abs down, 13 racing laps remain. They go. McGill opens up about a 5-car length lead as Steve Steele tries to run him down in the 00 car. Dean Alexander looks to the inside but can't find it as he sits in 3rd. McGill still out in front. Steele now 3 car lengths behind as Alexander tries to move up. Wiles racing 4th with Denny Denman 5th. DJ Klein 6th. Denny Klug is 7th. Doug Eaton races 8th. Gary Morton 9th. And Mark Uller 10th. Looks as though the 57F car of Roger French out of the action as he's going to try and head down into the infield pit area. So Roger French falling out of the action. Halfway home, 10 laps down, 10 laps to go. As the 10 car of Butch McGill still out in front. Steve Steele now back about 10 to 15 car lengths with Alexander continuing to run 3rd. Wiles 4th. And Denny Denman in the number 5 position. Over in corner 1 and 2 to bring out the yellow flag. Wrap up this Outhouse 20 run for the Pro Stock cars. So Butch McGill brings them down into corner 3 and 4. Green flag waves and we're back underway. McGill leads the train down the front chute again. As Steele back about 5 car lengths. Alexander continuing to race 3rd. Wiles back and forth with Denman 5th. Around in corner number 4, loses some positions. The 87 car backing up to the number 10 spot now as Mark Uller moves up into the number 9 position. Dean Alexander gets around Steve Steele to move into 2nd, and yellow flag will wave. Yellow flag will wave as I believe there's a problem on the speedway, possibly over in corner number 2. Out as we get back to racing. 6 laps remaining in this Outhouse 20 event. Down into that number 3 and 4 corner they go. 5 racing laps remain. As Steve Steele tries to move up on the leader, Butch McGill. Dean Alexander continuing to race 3rd with Took Wiles 4th and Denny Denman 5th. McGill with about a 3 car length lead on Steve Steele as they come off of corner number 4. Starting to wind down as we only have 3 racing laps remaining. Butch McGill still out in the front with Steve Steele 2nd, Dean Alexander 3rd, and Took Wiles 4th. Denny Denman back a bit in the 5th spot. Dean Alexander goes underneath of Steve Steele, takes the number 2 spot away. Field racing down into that 3 and 4 corner. It's Butch McGill, Dean Alexander now 2nd with Steve Steele 3rd. Took Wiles 4th and Denny Denman continuing to race 5th. But Denman now starting to get some pressure from DJ Klein in that green number 4 car. Field coming in One more circuit to go as McGill tries to hold off Dean Alexander in that 5B car. So the field racing down into that number 1 and 2 corner, going through the lap traffic. Down they go down the backside of the racetrack. Alexander way down inside, grazes the guardrail. Looks as though that'll open things up for Butch McGill. Coming in on the checkered flag, the Outhouse 20 winner will be Butch McGill. Second spot to Dean Alexander. Steve Steele to finish third. Took Wiles fourth. In the fifth spot is Denny Denman with DJ Klein sixth. Doug Eaton to finish seventh. Denny Klug in the number 8 spot. Mark Uhler finishes 9th and Al Floor 10th. Unofficially your top 10. And we'll head downstairs right now, down to the track, down into Victory Circle. Your Outhouse 20 winner climbing out of the car, Butch McGill. Pete Secret, take it away.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, down now with the winner of the Outhouse 30 here today at Pennsboro Speedway, Butch McGill. Butch, right over here, buddy. Congratulations on a good run today. You got out in front, and that was the place to be at Pennsboro today. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's good to be down here. I'll tell you, Pete, it's the first race I ever won at Pennsboro. I'm tickled shitless, you know?
Well, Butch, you've been here since about, what, 1967 or 68, somewhere in there, over 20-some years, and this is the first one you won. Did you ever think you're going to win at Pennsboro?
I don't know. I've always wanted to win a race here, and this hadn't been a semi late, but I don't care. I like to race. I don't care if it's a go-kart. Keith asked me last week if I wanted to run here, and I said, sure, why not? But we wasn't going to run our car, so, you know, the old car, it's a rocket chassis, and I never run one of them before till yesterday, and the car works pretty good. I'm tickled to death.
Well, Butch, let me tell you, ask you a few questions. Coming up with the consolations and the feature coming up for late model events. Is there 2 grooves out there? Is it pretty tough to pass? I was watching you in lap traffic, taking your time. Can a car pass out there?
Yeah, this track's always got 2 grooves. Most guys are afraid to try that top one, but if you get in the top, you got to keep the car straight and slow it down, then you can be a little faster on top. Bloomquist and them guys, they'll find that top groove.
Well, Butch, congratulations.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Hey, let a nice hand, ladies and gentlemen, for West Union, West Virginia's Butch McGill, winner of the Outhouse 30. McGill, one of the finest late model drivers here in North Central West Virginia, had a heck of a year, over 18 feature wins here at Tyler County, also up at the Elkins Motor Speedway this season, and a great...
Racing with the top 2 finishers to advance on then to the Hillbilly 100 event. Steve Shaver, B.A. Malkett setting up in front with Scott Peltz, Jack Pennington on row 2, Brian Ruhlman, Doug Hall on row number 3. Green flag out as we get underway with this first of 2 consolation events. Race underway as the 30 car of Steve Shaver sitting out in front. 55 car of Scott Peltz sitting second. With Brian Ruhlman racing third, it looks as though motor problems developing on the M1 car of B.A. Malkett. Has a lot of smoke coming out from underneath of that medic alert car.
Malkett slows down, takes the car down on the inside. Looks like smoke coming off of the left bank of the M1 automobile. Brad Malkett's day. Turn the lights out, it's over.
So the engine builder B.A. Malkett sees one of the Malkett power plants go up in smoke as he falls out of the action. Steve Shaver continues on with the race lead, about a 10 to 12 car length lead over Scott Peltz. Brian Ruhlman races third. Again, only the top 2 will advance.
Brian Ruhlman, who started in his qualifying heat race in pretty good shape, was up in a qualifying spot, only to have his car go south. We'll hope that Ruhlman, who had trouble in his qualifying heat race, learned something, and he can maintain that position, and he's got to move up 1 more spot.
So Steve Shaver brings the field around as we've got one into the wall over in corner number 1. That's the 69 car of John Ward. So yellow flag will wave as John Ward loops car 69 down in corner number 1. 10 lap.
last night picking up the win. We're ready to go. Green flag flies and we're underway. They barrel through that long, sweeping 1 and 2 turns. Head down the back straightaway with speeds well over 110 miles an hour. Brake real hard. Into turn 3, now exit turn 4. That is a lap around this 107-year-old facility here at the Speedway. Shaver starting to pull about a 7 or 8 car length lead now over the second place running of Scott Peltz. Peltz having an up and down season, winning over at Interstate 79 Speedway this year, also winning up Muskegon County Speedway, winning an R&R, but numerous times Peltz getting that 55 car in trouble. So it's been a kind of a up and down year for the team, the first year team of Peltz and Harris.
Well, the race continuing on as Steve Shaver continues to lead the pack. Scott Peltz racing second, but it looks as though Brian Ruman, the New York driver, and Pennsylvania's Jeff Robinson starting to gain a little bit of ground on that second running car of Scott Peltz, especially on the front chute, but Peltz looks awfully strong coming off of corner 2.
Yeah, Ruman, who made a lot of big chassis and tire mistakes on his qualifying E-race. I think that team has chosen to play tire and gear as Peltz, or as Ruman, is staying right in the hunt here early in this event.
Well, Jeff Robinson now starting to make a move on that third place car of Brian Ruman as the Ford Thunderbird of Robinson tries to work down low to get around Ruman to move up into that number 3 slot. Race leader Steve Shaver coming in off the number 4 corner as we hit the halfway point. 10 laps down with 10 laps remaining in this first of 2 consolation events. Some of the back markers as Scott Peltz trying to work his way around John Ward. Brian Ruman trying to work around also Jeff Robinson a little bit off the pace as he sits fourth. Jack Pennington now starting to look a little strong in the 011 car. Down in corner number 1 as we've got cars piled up down in corner number 1. Looks as though one of the cars involved might have been one of the back markers, I believe, the 100 car of Dan Piquel as he collects Doug Hall in car 65, Steve Francis in the R1 car, and Mark Myers in car 57 bringing out the caution flag here. Jeff Robinson also involved in the Callan Truck Line, Calhoun's Ford Mercury 42 car as he sits up against the wall midway between corner 1 and 2 with extensive damage on the rear end of the 42 machine. The 69 car of John Ward is a lap off the pace. So looking for a green flag restart with 7 laps remaining in this first of 2 consolation events. Green flag waves, we're back underway.
Over the second place car. With 5 laps to go this time, 5 single lead given in the field.
And once again, Scott Peltz able to pull away from Brian Ruhlman on the front side of the racetrack. But you can tell over in corner number 2, Ruhlman able to close right up with the back bumper of Peltz's car. But then once they hit the straightaways, Peltz's car just takes off and leaves Ruhlman, as Ruhlman trying hard to work his way around the 55 car of Scott Peltz. Continues to race third. Jack Pennington sitting fourth, and Bob Adams Jr. fifth. Jeff Robinson coming pit side in the 42 car, so must have been some more damage on the car than what Robinson thought as he comes down towards the pit area. Leader Steve Shaver off the number 4 corner as the white flag is displayed. Half a mile to go for Steve Shaver, the consolation leader here in consolation race number 1. Peltz sits in that second spot with Ruhlman third, Pennington fourth, and Bob Adams Jr. in the number 5 position. Coming in on the checkered flag, it'll be Steve Shaver with the win. Second spot to Scott Peltz. Brian Ruhlman to finish in the 3rd position. Jack Pennington 4th. And Bob Adams Jr. believe in the number 5 position. That is, of course, unofficial.
Once again, Nathan Durbrow also scratched the 24 car. Junior Simmons also not making the call. I stand to be corrected. Junior Simmons did make it.
Consolation events, the top 2 drivers advance to the 25th running of the Hillbilly 100. They come through the 3 and 4 corner. Green flag drops and we're underway.
This race, a very interesting 2 front runners that have run together many times before. Franklin in the 0 car of Eckert doing battle in the 1st and 2nd position.
Off the number 4 corner they go. Franklin in front with Eckert sitting 2nd. Alan Baker rides 3rd as Steve Barnett sits in the number 4 spot. Racing 5th now would be that 28 car of Harold Redmond. Bobby Burgess races 6th. Ed Faree 7th. Charlie Schaefer 8th. Mark Frazier sitting 9th, and the big man Nathan Durbrow in that number 10 position. So Alex Beaumont slowing on the number 4 corner as we've got a spin down in corner number 4. Don Clark, I believe, as he lost it down in between corner 3 and 4. Racing laps have been recorded in this second consolation event. So Franklin brings the field around, green flag to wave as we get back to racing. Now Mark Fraser getting hung out to dry there in corner number 2 as he slipped up a spot, allows Nathan Durborough to move around in the 24 car. So Franklin brings him off of corner 4 again, opening up a little bit of ground between he and Rick Eckert.
Hey, what about Alan Baker? He's not in bad shape here. Right in striking distance, sitting in that 3rd spot, looks like closing in.
Alan jumped out of the pro stock, went to the late models mid-season up at Buckeye Speedway. He's been out racing now for about 6 weeks in that number 19 car. Alan's been running real strong on a weekly basis. Made the Buckeye National 50 for his first time ever last Saturday night up at Buckeye Speedway. Alan says the car is a rocket ship for him. He's only raced the late models about half his season and looking real strong out here in this consolation event. Alan Baker in car 19. For Alan Baker in the 19 car, as all of a sudden something went wrong on the Masculine Transmissions Thrifty Muffler sponsored mount as the car went to immediate left coming off of corner number 4. Around he went and into the inside dirt embankment here on the front chute. Second consolation event.
Franklin and Eckert are going to be tough to overhaul. Has a lot of experience behind the wheel of the 01 and the 0 car.
I'll tell you what, Pete, keep your eye on that Ray Best excavating car, the big man, Nathan Durborough in car 24. He was able to pick off Ed Perry that last go-round, and he's moving up on the 5th place car, that being Bobby Burgess, the 34 car. Durborough looks to the inside, the big man trying to get to the Hillbilly 100 the hard way.
Well, Perry, one of those tough child chain chargers over that Hagerstown Speedway circuit. As he looks down on the inside of Bobby Burgess, that time wisely cracks the throttle. Watch now, out of turn number 2. Durborough heading down the back chute, losing the draft of Bobby Burgess that time.
Well, Rick Eckert now right up on the back bumper of Rodney Franklin as they work off the corner number 4 down into corner number 1. Alan Baker has called it a day as he has parked the 19 car down in the infield pit area. So the Massillon, Ohio driver out of the action. Franklin able to pick up a lot of ground now on Eckert as they headed down the back chute into corner 3 and 4. Eckert now about 2 car lengths behind the race leader, Rodney Franklin.
Seems to always try to claw his way up the mountain.
Now this race winding down as only a few more laps to go. And this consolation event at Rodney Franklin, the Virginia Leadfoot, looking real strong in that 01 car. Rick Eckert continuing to race second in the 0E. Harold Redmond sits third. Steve Barnett is fourth. Bobby Burgess fifth with Nathan Durborough sitting in the number 6 position. The number 2 corner they go. Franklin and Eckert racing out in front, 1 and 2, as they have opened up a lot of ground between them and third running Harold Redmond. Coming in now on the white flag, 1/2 mile to go Coming in on the checkered flag, second consolation event winner will be Rodney Franklin, with Rick Eckert finishing second. Harold Redmond to wind up third, Steve Barnett fourth, and Bobby Burgess in the number 5 position.
Well, we're ready for the 25th running of this event. And an event started, we talked about it back in 1967. One of the oldest running consecutive dirt races anywhere in the country running today. One of the oldest races. I'm sure there's a number of old races still running, but this is one of them. After the 60s, 70s, 80s, 4 decades old. 4 decades old. And we are ready for the 1993 edition.
So the field pacing behind that pace vehicle, the beautiful looking pickup truck, courtesy of number 1 Cochran Pontiac GMC. Our thanks to all the fine folks from Cochran Pontiac for all of their help here at the Pennsboro Speedway. As the field starts to take shape, as we'll get set to go here momentarily with 100 laps of green flag racing for this Hillbilly 100 event. The 25th annual Hillbilly 100 being sponsored by the fine folks of Turbo Blue Racing Gasolines, the Duncan Oil Company out of Xenia, Ohio.
Well, Brett, as the sun slowly starts to set, we see the back chute, just about half the back straightaway, especially in turns 3, is shaded. May become a problem a little bit earlier in this event with the drivers coming out of the sun going into the shade, but it should start to settle. The whole back chute should be under shade, the whole track, before this event is over. Sure, some of the crews have made that necessary adjustment to maybe think the track will change at the end.
Well, I'm sure as this 100-lapper will get underway here momentarily, there'll be a lot of pit stops going on during yellow flag caution periods, as drivers will be dropping in, trying to pick up fresh rubber, maybe get a couple of quick adjustments on their cars before they head back out, as we get set for this 25th annual Turbo Blue Racing Gasolines Hillbilly 100 event. Getting the motors warmed up, getting the tires heated up, as we'll be getting set to go here momentarily with this 25th annual running of the Hillbilly 100 here at the Pennsboro Speedway. Dick Martin and Larry Moore sitting up on the front row, with Lynn Geisler and Davey Johnson on row 2, Scott Bloomquist and Jim Gentry on row number 3, and it's Denny Chamberlain and Freddie Smith making up the 4th row, row number 5, Jack Boggs and Mark Banal.
Well, I want to know out there, is there any Ford fans? for behind Dick Barton today. He's going to need all the help he can get, I'll tell you that, Brent, but best of luck to Dick Barton on the inside.
Now the field getting set to go here as the flagman checking them over, as I believe we'll be going green flag next time around to get this 25th annual Turbo Blue Racing Gasoline's Hillbilly 100 event underway. As the field comes off the number 4 corner, we ask you please, let's give the drivers a good send-off, wish them well, and cheer for your favorite. The harder you clap and the more noise you make, the harder they'll drive. This is your field for the 25th annual Turbo Blue Racing Gasoline's Hillbilly 100. The dark horse Jim Gentry to pick up the win in car 14. Here they come, green flag out, and we're underway. Davey Johnson getting out in front quickly from that number 4 starting spot as he leads the field down the backside of the racetrack. Larry Moore sitting in that second spot as Dick Barton's back to third. Jim Gentry sits fourth at the end of lap number 1 with Lynn Geisler in the number 5 position.
Well, Davy J wasted no time to fill the car out. He went right for the lead on the opening lap.
So Davey Johnson out in front of Larry Moore by about 20 car lengths early in this event. As Moore will try and track down the number 1 man of the Stars points. Dick Barton continues to race in that third spot with Jim Gentry fourth. Lynn Geisler sits fifth. Scott Bloomquist in the number 6 position with Freddie Smith racing 8th. Denny Chamberlain races 9th and Jack Boggs in the number 10 position. Keeping the 1J car, the Angelique and Henry Motorsports car out in front. Larry Moore trying to run him down, but we've got a long way to go as this is a 100-lap event. A 50-mile race with $10,000 awaiting the winner. And a problem down in corner number 1 as Racing John Mason tags the outside at number 1 guardrail in car number 72. So yellow flag will wave as Racing John Mason out of Millersburg, Ohio, tags the number 1 guardrail to the outside a ton in car 72. And a red flag will need to be thrown as we'll need to get an emergency squad up to corner number 1. As safety crews up there working with the 72 car of John Mason. conscious in the accident down in corner number 1. Just got off the headsets with one of our safety workers down there. John Mason has regained consciousness. He has full movement of his arms and his legs. Just kind of groggy right now as they're working trying to get him out of the race car. Understand they probably will be taking him in just for a precautionary checkup, but as it looks right now, John Mason going to be okay in that grinding crash down in corner number 1.
The country right now, John Mason, coming off of that big win over at Springfield. Car pretty tore up, a little bit more tore up than I thought on that left front rear.
Crash for John Mason. The lap prior to that, he had a tire going down on the car. So that could be the reason why Mason lost the handle of his car heading into corner number 1 as he had a tire going down the lap prior. It could be that tire went all the way down as he got into corner number 1, or possibly even blew out and then sent the car pell-mell backwards into that retaining wall in corner number 1.
Story, the main chapter here, the race. Dave Johnson, Davy J, really checked out. Early in that event, Johnson come out of the 4th starting spot. Man, I mean, he jumped in the lead, and he is on the way.
Geisler in the number 5 spot as we'll get ready to go back to a green flag condition here to get this 25th annual Turbo Blue Racing Gasoline's Hillbilly 100 back underway. Green flag waves, and we're back racing. Won that second consolation event. He's up into the top 15, close to breaking into the top 10, but he's got a few cars looks as though Moore is able to pick up ground on Johnson in the corners, but Johnson able to pull away from Moore, heading down the long back straightaway and the front straightaway.
I think this afternoon, Fred, lap traffic here, just a few more laps, is going to really want to play a big part. I noticed in the heat races, they had a lot of trouble getting around some of the slower cars.
And of course, this event won't be like a heat race. A lot of good drivers out here, talented drivers. They'll race hard for a position, and it'll be tough for those leaders to make it through the lap traffic.
Especially here early in the race, you know, they don't want to go a lap down here early in this event. Race leader Dave Johnson, we just talked about it a few minutes ago. He'll be getting up on the gentleman who won the race last night in the Mountain State 100, Steve Shaver Johnson. Will be getting on Shaver's bumper this time through 3 and 4.
Down to the number 3 and 4 corner, the leaders come about 7 car lengths between Steve Shaver and race leader Dave Johnson as Larry Moore tries to close. Dick Barton again running third with Scott Bloomquist fourth. Jim Gentry racing fifth with Lynn Geisler sixth. Freddie Smith sits seventh. Jack Boggs eighth. Mark Banal ninth. And Mike Balzano in the 10th spot to round out the top 10.
You know, a car just out of the top 10, I think we have to hit on here, is the 99 car of Donnie Moran. Moran out there, not the Donnie Moran that me and you have seen here in Pittsburgh.
Well, Donnie just more or less driving on sheer guts, I guess you could say, as he's got a very painful broken right thumb, and a 100-lap grind really will take it out of you. But when you've got a broken bone and you're trying to fight that also, it'll just take it out of you quicker than what the 100-lap race will.
Well, it's show and tell time down the back chute. Dave Johnson has finally caught one of the back markers. He went around Scott Peltz. Now he works on the 30 car, Steve Shaver. Shaver, one of the best cars here in the tri-state area. Let's see what Johnson can do.
Well, heavy lap traffic playing out in front of the race leader, Davey Johnson, as Larry Moore tries to get around that car of Scott Peltz. With Moore being slowed up a little bit by the lap car, that's allowed Dick Barton and Scott Bloomquist to move back into the hunt for the top 2 positions. As Scott Peltz allows Larry Moore to go on by. Now Moore can try to track down Johnson, who's being slowed a bit by Steve Shaver and the 29 car of Darrell Lanigan.
You know, these cars in the 90s, Frank, you just can't knock them out of the way. They're not built that way. They're delicate. You have to protect your race car. You have to keep your suspension right underneath of you. So it's very critical for these drivers to make a good, clean pass to lap traffic.
Well, Davey Johnson still having a rough time trying to get around Steve Shaver. And Larry Moore has moved within 2 car lengths of the race leader. 7 car lengths back is third running Dick Barton with Scott Bloomquist sitting fourth. Right on his tail, Gentry in the 14 car is shuffled back from 5th, back to the number 9 spot as he lost ground in lap at corner 3 and 4 last time by. And a yellow flag will be waving as a problem out on the speedway. And the yellow coming out for Rick Eckert in the 0 car, the driver out of York, Pennsylvania. So the Eckert Trucking 0 car problems coming off of corner number 4.
No, he has been to Pennsboro now, I think, 4 times, and he's cut the show 4 times. So that's saying something about this young, talented driver from up around sprint car country, up around York. He has never failed to make a race yet at the Speedway in these first, I think, 4 attempts.
So 21 laps down as we get set to go back to green. Davey Johnson, the race leader, with Larry Moore sitting second. Dick Barton races third. Scott Bloomquist in the number 4 spot. Lynn Geisler now sits 5th. Freddie Smith in the number 6 position with Jack Boggs racing 7th. Jim Gentry now back to the number 8 spot. Mark Banal races 9th. That's the T8 car. Mike Balzano rounds out the top 10 in the E1 as we get set to go back to a green flag condition. 21 down, 79 racing laps to go. Hillbilly 100 back underway. So the racing action continuing on here as we continue to go racing. Johnson out in front by about 7 to 10 car lengths over Larry Moore. About another 7 to 10 back to third running Dick Martin as Bloomquist races fourth. Geisler in that number 5 spot.
We know those top 1, 2, 3, 4 cars are starting to pull away just a little bit from fifth place runner.
Freddie Smith now moves into the top 5 as he gets the double OK car around Lynn Geisler here on the front side of the racetrack. The Baton Rouge, Louisiana resident now up to the number 5 position. And Scott Bloomquist gets around Dick Martin, moves up to the number 3 spot. So Scott Bloomquist on the move now as he was working Dick Martin for quite a few laps and finally notched him coming off of corner number 4. Martin's sliding back slightly in the Ford-powered Coors Light boat place car.
We know the gentleman who started 8th. He has won this event before. They call him Mr. Pennsboro, Freddie Smith, and I'll tell you, he's sneaking up on him very slowly.
Well, Freddie looking for the inside line on Barton as they head into corner 3, but he'll back out and maybe try it next time by. Smith looked at the inside. Barton closed the door in corner 4. Johnson still out in front, about 7 car lengths back to second running Larry Moore. As Scott Bloomquist races third, Dick Martin sits fourth and Freddie Smith fifth. Lynn Geisler sitting sixth, Jack Boggs is seventh, Jim Gentry races eighth, Mark Canal ninth. In the number 10 spot is Mike Balzino. The 55 car around down in corner number 4. So our third caution waving here for the Georgetown, Ohio, Scott Peltz as he loops the 55 car around, the Gator Harris racing car around down in corner number 4.
In your seat, so those people behind you can see what's going on.
Rolling out, the Moran crew decides to, or excuse me, decides to come in after the third caution. And it looks like changing a left rear tire on the rocket chassis of Donnie Moran.
82 racing laps down, 68 racing laps remaining as we get set to go back to a green flag. Green flag waves and we're back underway. Down the back chute they go. Davey Johnson again extending his lead as Larry Moore sits in that number 2 spot. Scott Bloomquist racing third. Dick Martin Johnson still able to pull out to about a 7 to 10 car length lead over Larry Moore. As Bloomquist about 3 car lengths behind Moore, another 4 car lengths back to Martin, and 2 car lengths then back to the 5th running Freddie Smith. So caution flag waves for the 11 car of Bart Hartman as he is off the pace, bringing the Hartman Truck Center 11 car down pit side. So looking for the green flag restart. Green flag comes out and we're back underway.
In the hunt, looks like yellow comes right back out very quickly.
And I believe we have some debris down on the racetrack is why the yellow came out. So yellow flag coming out for debris. Right to a green flag condition. As they come off the 3 and 4 corner, the green flag waves and we're back underway.
Jack Boggs. Boggs not out of the hunt at all. He's slowly working his way up in this capacity crowd. Watch Davey Johnson. I think for the first time that he's led this many laps ever here at the Pittsburgh Speedway. And Johnson took the lead on the opening lap and has led just about 38 or 39 circuits so far.
So the race continues on as they head down into corner number 3 and 4. Johnson still out in front with Moore second, Bloomquist third, Freddie Smith fourth, and Dick Martin fifth. Lynn Geisler races sixth with Jack Boggs seventh. Sitting eighth is Jim Gentry. Mark Bunnell races ninth with Mike Balzano 10th. And it's Rodney Franklin, followed by Todd Andrews, Chubb Frank, then Gary Stuhler, Steve Baker, Cooper Bear, Steve Shaver, Darrell Lanigan, Donnie Moran, and Joe make that Bob Mosky to round out the field. And so the race continuing on as Johnson now with about a 10-car length lead over Freddie Smith. Or make that Larry Moore. Scott Bloomquist third and Freddie Smith fourth. As the second, third, and fourth place cars within striking distance of each other. And a problem over in corner number 1 as 10th place runner Mike Balzano tags the outside guardrail with the E1 car. So the flood wall flyer scraping the guardrail on the top side between corner 1 and 2 to break out the caution. Into the infield area as Mike has damage on the right rear and make that the whole rear of that car. So the E1 car, Mike Balzano racing in that number 10 spot, scraping the wall over between corner 1 and 2 to a green flag condition. Leader Johnson brings them around, green flag waves, and we're back underway. So the race continuing on as Davy Johnson is out in front. Scott Bloomquist putting pressure on Larry Moore as they enter into corner 3 and 4. Bloomquist trying to find his way around Larry Moore as Freddie Smith right on the back bumper of Bloomquist in the number 4 position.
The battle starts to tighten up a little bit. Freddie Smith and Larry Moore stuck in the middle. Scott Bloomquist. 3 of the top dirt track drivers in the country right there, running 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Trying to catch that airplane of Davy Johnson. And he is quick this afternoon as he has never been challenged for the lead yet. Johnson with about a 15-20 car length lead over the rest of the field.
Sliding halt here on the front chute. So yellow flag will be out for the Rockbridge Bass, Virginia driver Booper Bear as his car locks up on him coming down the front side of the racetrack.
As you can see, the crew trying to keep the front tires straight so they can get him back
Underway, green flag waves, and we're back underway with the Hillbilly 100. Down in corner number 4 on the restart as Steve Shaver spins the 30 car to the inside of corner 4. So curb pit area, the 00 car trying to get his car repaired and back out here on the speedway. And some good sportsmanship going on down there in the pit area as Rick Eckert, the young driver out of York, Pennsylvania, out of the action. Repaired and back in the race. It's out on the racetrack as we'll get set to go back to a green flag condition. Green flag back out with 55 laps remaining in this 25th Hillbilly 100. Well, Freddie Smith there, Pete, got the 00 car a bit crossed up in corner number 2. That put a lot of ground between he and third running Scott Bloomquist. And Dick Martin that's ready to try and make a move to get around that 00 car.
Freddie Smith that time got the car just a little bit too hot down into turns 1 and 2. Watching this time as the Baton Rouge, Louisiana driver goes very smoothly through 1 and 2 that time and heads down the back straightaway. Scott Bloomquist now trying to get around Larry Moore. Larry Moore, the obstacle between him and race leader Dave Johnson.
Davy Johnson out in front with that 1J car. Larry Moore about 10 to 12 car lengths back. Scott Bloomquist trying to find his way around Larry Moore with Freddie Smith sitting 4th. Dick Martin 5th, Lynn Geisler 6th. Jack Hawks races 7th. And it's Jim Gentry sitting 8th. With Rodney Franklin, or make that Mark Banal sitting 9th. Rodney Franklin 10th. And it's Todd Andrews in the 17 car, followed by Chuck Frank in the 1 star. Steve Baker in car 84. Gary Stuhler in the 44. Donnie Moran in car 99. Bob Mosky in the 33. Darrell Hannigan in 29. Steve Shaver in 30. And the 00 car of Booper Bear to round out your field as we come close to the halfway point of this Hillbilly 100. Crossed sticks are in the air. 50 laps down and 50 laps to go.
In the books right now. The only way right now looks like they're going to catch Davy Johnson's traffic.
And he's going to have a long way to go to get into some traffic as there's nearly a full So Johnson continues to put ground between he and second running Larry Moore. Gentry off of corner number 2 as Gentry backslides now to the number 9 spot. As I think Gentry's starting to lose some tires in the 14 car. And Gentry having difficulties on the M&J Enterprises car as he's off the pace. So a tough break for the Worcester, Ohio driver Jim Gentry, 4th quick qualifier this afternoon. Difficulties on the M&J Enterprises 14 car as he heads down towards his pit area.
We talked about it 4 or 5 laps ago. Dave Johnson now has caught the slower car, Steve Shaver. Let's see what happens this time.
Now as they race down to that 1 and 2 corner, Shaver right out ahead of Davey Johnson as they race down the backside. Steve gives Davey room and lets him go. Steve knowing he's well off the pace. And there's no sense of trying to keep the leader back there, so Steve Shaver lets the leader, Davey Johnson, move on by. Shaver moving wide in corner number 4, letting the leaders go by. As Shaver off the pace in the Bosky Performance parts. Lakeview Estates, Valvoline, and a hair salon sponsored 30 car having difficulties as he's well off the pace, coming off of corner number 2. Steve Shaver staying up out of the line of traffic as he'll try and work his way down to the inside part of the track and try and work his way down into the pit area. So Steve Shaver dropping the 30 car down to the pit area. So Shaver hits into the pit area as race leader Davey Johnson comes by. Larry Moore, Scott Bloomquist, and Freddie Smith lined up nose to tail, racing for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Dick Martin continues to race 5th. Lynn Geisler sits 6th with Jack Boggs 7th. Mark Bunnell 8th. Rodney Franklin 9th. Todd Andrews in the number 10 position.
Well, I think something's going to happen between Larry Moore and Scott Bloomquist. It's been going pretty steady for the last 15, 20 laps or so. I think Bloomquist's got to make a move on Larry Moore right now if he's got a chance to win this thing.
Well, I'm sure Scott's probably thinking the same thing, saying, I got to do it now because Davey's getting away, but it's not going to be an easy task trying to get around Larry Moore.
I believe that if Scott can get around
Davey Johnson able to pull away from the lap cars. That's Bob Mosky off the pace in car 33. Allows the second, third, and fourth place cars of Moore, Bloomquist, and Smith to move on by. Donnie Moran in the pit area now in car 99. So Moran pulls into the pit area. The Frazeysburg Flash 99 car down to the infield area. Johnson now trying to get around Booper Bear to put him another lap down, as Booper is a lap off the pace, getting caught in the pit area. So Johnson going wide on Bear to get around him and retain that lead position, as Larry Moore, Scott Bloomquist, and Freddie Smith continue to try and track the race leader down. Bob Mosky's 33 car slowing in corner number 3. See if he can work his way down to the infield area or not. It doesn't look like he'll be able to, so caution will be out of corner 3. So 70 laps are down, 30 racing laps remain. What a tough break for Lynn Geisler, the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania driver in the Cochran Pontiac GMC sponsored mount. Flat tire on the right front. He was racing in that number 6 position and had to drop in to pick up rubber. So a tough, tough break for the very personable Lynn Geisler, driver of the 1C. Fifth, Dick Barton in car 28. As we get set to come around for the green flag restart with 30 laps to go. Green flag back out. Lynn Geisler going to work his way back out on the racing track. He will not lose a lap, so the Pittsburgh PA driver back in the fray. Bear pulling up out of the racing groove, the 00 car, as he allows the leaders to go by. So the Rockbridge, Bass, Virginia driver, Booper Bear, off the pace in the 00 car as he'll try and work his way back down to the pit area. The race will continue on as Davey Johnson out in front by a huge margin over second running Larry Moore. Scott Bloomquist continues to race in the number 3 slot with Freddie Smith sitting 4th. The 28 car of Dick Barton races 5th. Jack Boggs sits 6th in the B4. Racing 7th, Mark Banal in the T8. 8th spot now would be the 01 car of Rodney Franklin. Todd Andrews sits 9th in the 17 car, and Chubb Frank, after starting 26th, up to the number 10 position.
Well, Chubb Frank, the tough gentleman, I tell you, he has struggled his way up. And a good top 10 finish is in sight for the independent from way up north in Pennsylvania, Chubb Frank.
Well, you know, they talk about Chubb Frank. They call him the shoestring traveler because of the hard way he has to do it. But the way this guy drives, I think maybe Iron Man might be the appropriate term, as he'll drive the wheels off a race car. I've seen him finish races with quarter panels gone, roof's gone, trunk's gone, but as long as it's got wheels on it, he'll keep on going.
You're exactly right. He came from this almost in the last row. Matter of fact, in the last row, and he's worked his way into a good top 10 finish here if he can hang on.
And looks as though Jack Boggs has got problems on the B4 car as he slows down into corner number 3, and caution flag will be out as the number 6 runner, Jack Boggs out of Grayson, Kentucky, stops the Chubby Bear Gate Company Miller Brothers Construction sponsored B4 car inside of corner number 3.
4 car. And looks as though Jack Boggs has got problems on the B4 car as he slows down into corner number 3, and caution flag will be out as the number 6 runner, Jack Boggs out of Grayson, Kentucky, stops the Chubby Bear Gate Company Miller Brothers Construction sponsored B4 car inside of corner number 3.
And it looks as though wrecker will be needed for Jack Boggs down in corner number 3.
Earlier in the event, Rodney Franklin seems to do the best in the long 100-lap grind races.
Condition. Davey Johnson been looking very strong in the first 3 quarters of this event. Larry Moore hanging right there in that second spot. So they come off the 3 and 4 corner. The green flag waves and we're back underway. So Davey Johnson bringing the field around again as Scott Bloomquist looking for a spot to get around Larry Moore. But just can't seem to find it as they race down into corner number 1. As though 10th running Gary Stuhler off the pace in car 44. The Speedy Hayes car of Gary Stuhler off the pace as he'll be heading pit side. So a tough break for the Westminster, Maryland driver Gary Stuhler. Picked up the big feature wins with the Stars over at the Williams Grove Speedway earlier this year. And also down at the Hagerstown Speedway. Continue to tick down. Davey Johnson opening up a pretty good sized chunk of real estate between he and second running Larry Moore. Bloomquist continues to race third with Freddie Smith fourth. Dick Barton fifth. Mark Banal races sixth. And it's the 01 car of Rodney Franklin sitting seventh as Darrell Lanigan off the pace as well as Steve Baker. So Baker heading down towards the pit area. Lanigan going to join him in that 29 car. Steve Baker, Darrell Lanigan both calling it an afternoon as they park their cars in the infield pit area. Continues on with Davey Johnson seemingly in control of this event. Larry Moore races second with Scott Bloomquist still third, Freddie Smith still fourth. And the 28 car of Dick Barton continuing to race in the number 5 position. to the west, and the laps slowly sink into the scoring books, wrapping up this 25th running of the Hillbilly 100. Just a handful of laps remaining in this Hillbilly 100 event, as Davey Johnson now with a full straightaway length lead over second running Larry Moore. Scott Bloomquist continues to race third, Freddie Smith fourth, and Dick Martin fifth, as the laps continue to wind down. Mark Vanel continues to race sixth with Rodney Franklin seventh. Todd Andrews is eighth. Sitting ninth is Chubb Frank. Lynn Geisler in the number 10 spot, and Larry Moore goes wide down the back chute. That allows the third, fourth, and fifth place cars to move by, and yellow flag will wave. So yellow flag will be out for Larry Moore, the Dayton Flyer out of Dayton, Ohio, as the Bobby Allen Motorsports 55 car shut down going down the backside of the racetrack. Moore comes pit side now in car 55, flat tire. So Larry Moore racing in that second spot and has the right rear tire go down on that 55 car as the Bobby Allen Motorsports crew goes to work. 94 laps are down, 6 racing laps to go. The number 2 spot. As we'll be getting set to go here momentarily, green flag waves and we're back underway. So Larry Moore rejoins the race in that 55 car as he'll be on the tail end of the pack. Field thundering down into corner number 3 and 4, coming in now with 5 racing laps remaining. Johnson leading the field around as Bloomquist tries to catch up. Smith continuing to race in that third spot with Barton sitting fourth. Vanal racing fifth. Franklin is sixth. Andrew seventh. Chubb Frank eighth. Geisler sits ninth. Larry Moore in the number 10 position. Winding down. Field coming off the number 4 corner. White flag displayed. 1 lap to go as Bloomquist now within 5 car lengths of Johnson as they race down into corner number 1 and 2. See if Bloomquist has anything left for Johnson as they race off of corner number 2. And down the backside of the racetrack they go. Freddie Smith continuing to race third. Barton fourth. Coming in on the checkered flag, it'll be Davey Johnson, the Hillbilly 100 winner. Second spot to Scott Bloomquist. Third spot to Freddie Smith. Fourth will be Dick Barton unofficially. In the number 5 spot will be Rodney Franklin with Todd Andrews sixth, followed by Chubb Frank. Lynn Geisler, Larry Moore, and Mark Bennell rounding out the unofficial top 10.
Congratulations. I'll tell you what, we talked earlier, and you had a lot of confidence going into this race. I'll let you catch your breath. First of all, congratulations.
Thanks, Petey. I owe this one to Ray Callahan. About 10 minutes before the feature there, he decided we want to change all 4 tires, and I left it all up to him. So he did a well of a job.
Yeah, you got a good start on the jump. You went out and got the lead early, but never looked back, never challenged. Did you know no one was on your quarter panel all afternoon?
Nah, it's hard to tell here. I mean, a little bobble here, a little bobble there. You know, it don't take much to lose any time. So I just tried to keep my head on straight and drive a good 100 laps.
Well, let's talk about the race. You led all 100 laps. Did the car seem to get quicker as the race went on, or just pretty much it looked to me like it stayed just bad fast all 100 circuits?
On the restarts, it'd slow down. It'd take me 3 or 4 laps to get going again, you know, and I was hoping I wasn't burning the tires off. But I just run the smoothest race I could, Petey.
Well, you know, I was wondering about that. You're one of those flat-out drivers, and here at Pennsboro on a hot afternoon, maybe thought you might scuff in tires. Did you slow up a little bit or just try to keep the car straight as possible?
Just keep it straight as possible. If I got any wheel spin out of the car, then I back down a little bit, and a little help from my man Wally in the corner. So we just run a good race.
Well, you know, this is your 11th feature win for Stars this year. 5 out of 7. For Stars here lately. Have you found something, or just things are just clicking for you?
Well, we found something, but I wish I would have turned 30 about 3 years ago, to tell you the truth.
You know, it was lap traffic. We watched you a couple times there in lap traffic early in the race. Was that, you thought, might have been a problem if you had to run a lot in lap traffic?
Yeah, it might have been, but I just tried to keep my nose clean, Petey. It's too easy to get tangled up down here. You know, if a wreck starts, it's like wrecking on asphalt, because it's like running asphalt.
Well, Davey, I tell you what, let's get, who's the guys that own Denny Angelico and Gary Henry? Where are they at? Where's Gary and Denny? There's Denny. Hey, Denny, over here. All right, we're going to get Gary. Right over Gary. Hold on, we're going to get Gary and Denny Angelico right in here. Up with Davey Johnson. Tell you what, big plus for you, wasn't it?
Well, Davey, the whole crew. Gary, my partner, and Wally works on the car, and everyone that shows up, it's his total team effort. And that's what it's all about.
Well, Denny, can you believe this? You guys are probably one of the hottest dirt track drivers, the dirt track cars in the country right now. Did you ever think, it'd come to this?
No, you keep working to let that happen, but things happen, but it's all come together this year.
Congratulations,
I want
Denny.
Gary Henry.
Oh, we want Gary Henry right here. Where's Gary? I'll tell you what, all 100 laps were here in this 10-pound this race. All the cars they give us throughout the year, certainly in all the races.
Davey Jock.
Without them. And,
I
okay.
need another one, Davey Jock.
Hold on here.
Up, Doc. There you go.
Brett, that thing ain't gonna work.
Third place finisher with me right now. I'll talk to the third place finisher out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Freddie Smith. Freddie, on a good run. Congratulations today.
Thank you. We just had some carburetor problem today. Car cut off right in the middle of the corner.
Freddie, you worked your way up into contention very quickly, and then what happened is the car just seemed to wouldn't perform when you come out of the turns, right?
Well, it would come out pretty good, but right in the middle of the corners it shut off, and then I had to wait on the carburetor to come back and get back on the throttle there.
Was the track any different than you've seen it today, or just a typical Pennsboro day?
Well, it's just a typical Pennsboro day here, I think.
Pretty tough passing?
Yeah, it was today. It's a little bit worse today than it has been, really.
That's what I thought. No outside at all, right?
No, there wasn't no outside.
It was hug the guardrail, huh?
Yeah, you better hug it. I hit it down here and coming off the floor.
Well, I'll tell you what, good run. Congratulations.
Okay, thank you.
Freddie Smith, ladies and gentlemen, our third place finish. With me right now. First time that he's finished in Pennsboro, but had a good run. Congratulations, Scott Bloomquist.
Well, thanks. We had a decent day. We got a bad start there, and we worked our tires pretty hard and ended up, we got one laying flat right now. But we were happy with our finish today. You know, we coming out sixth there. We were just glad to finish.
Pretty tough to pass, wasn't it, Scott?
Yeah, there's a fine line in deciding how hard you want to run here. You know, you got to run hard enough to be in a position to pass, but you don't want to sit there and wear your stuff out. But Davey ran real good today. He deserved to win.
Well, was there any outside at all? Were you attempting maybe to try the outside a few times?
Well, I try to take it in a little wider than the other cars and pull it down and try to get under them. Like Larry down here in 3 and 4, we try to take it in wider, and there just wasn't enough room. You couldn't do nothing. He could have hit him 100 times, but it doesn't do you no good.
I'll tell you what, congratulations to J&J Steel, Barry Wright car. Best of luck to you in the World 100 next weekend.
Thank you.
Hey, Scott Bloomquist, ladies and gentlemen, good finish for him. And
you can hear me on the back side of the racetrack. Attention to the infield area to the double low car. Please.
Hold on there. Greg, pick that one up. You want with the back?
This is my second time.